Good day, and today we are going to talk about applying fly spray. Personally, I don't use it much. I actually don't use it at all anymore because I haven't found any that actually works well enough to make it worthwhile. And even if you buy the concentrate that you dilute yourself, it's still rather costly to be using it all the time when it, in my experience, doesn't last or isn't effective for more than maybe a couple hours at best. Maybe there's some stuff out there that you know about that works. I haven't found any. What we got here today is a fly spray bottle, but it does not have fly spray in it anymore. It was one that was being discarded. I have refilled it with water for the purpose of teaching him how to accept fly spray. Now you can see he hasn't concerned with the bottle too much, but I'll get to that right away here because one of the things that people have problems with applying fly spray is they don't break it down into its base components because there's a lot of stuff going on at once, and most people don't realize that. They just figure, geez, I'm doing one thing, I'm putting fly spray on, and the horse is freaking out. Well, one of the reasons a horse will freak out about stuff is if it gets a little overwhelmed because it's getting um, too many new things introduced to it at one time. I like to break everything down, no matter what I'm doing. I like to break it down into individual components, so that the horse, when the horse is being exposed to something new, it doesn't have to deal with anything more than one thing at a time. So we're going to break the fly spray down because you can break it down quite a bit actually, and I'm going to show you how. Initially, there's kind of two major parts. First part is just breaking it down, the introduction of the fly spray. Depending on your horse, you might have to just walk around for a while with the bottle in your hand until the horse gets used to seeing you with it in your hand. Now, he obviously doesn't have a problem with that, so that part's okay. The other thing I do, the next step I do, is I let him smell it because even this one that has just water in it now, it still smells like fly spray. Even I can smell it, so I know he can too. And fly spray does have a rather unique odor to it. We want him to get used to that. Well, he doesn't seem to have much of a problem with that. The other thing is the sound it makes. It almost sounds like a snake. It hisses. Well, you probably can't hear it, but it makes noise, and the pump sometimes makes weird noises too. So you want them to get used to the noises, but I'm not interested in spraying them yet. And this is one of the reasons I like to start off with a empty bottle that I've refilled with water. That way I'm not wasting fly spray. I can spray it all over the place. It's just water. It's not going to cost much to keep filling this thing up. And chances are I'm not going to have to fill this bottle up more than once before I'm done. I hope not anyhow. But I start off with this. Okay, we've done the sight. He sees it in my hand. We've let him smell it. Now we're going to let him hear it. And I'm going to spray it away from him. I'm not spraying it at him in his direction. So that's three components already: the sight, the smell, and the sound of it that we've addressed. In his case, that's not a bother at all. I'm going to back up a little bit because when you're doing this, it's very similar to desensitizing. Now with him, when it comes to desensitizing, I really couldn't find anything that bothered him until I got to the fly spray, which I almost forgot to do until I happened to be walking by this discarded bottle. And I thought, right, I haven't done that. Forgot about that. So conveniently, free bottle filled with water that costs nothing. This is how you do it. We do things on the cheap around here. I'm going to move a little further away from the camera here. So we got some room to move and still be in camera while we do this, because it might get a reaction. I have actually done this once before, unfortunately, and I didn't have the camera on. I really do hope I get a little bit of a reaction out of it. I didn't get a huge reaction even the last time, but it actually was the only thing I've found so far that he actually does react to it all. Wasn't a lot, but he did react to it. So we start off, we spray it away from the horse. Keep spraying it, get a little closer to the horse, and I'm not going to immediately blast it right on the horse. I start getting it closer. Oh, you see he's getting a little bit worried? It still bothers him. This is good. But I start by getting it close to the legs, and then we start with the front legs. He's already concerned. You see him moving. I'm not stopping, though. This is the other part. See, we've addressed the, okay, he stopped. I'm going to stop. That gives me a minute to talk to you again, because one of the things that we've broken it down into the sight, the smell, the sound, and then once it starts touching his legs, that's the sensation. So those are those 4 elements of the fly spray right there. So already the fly spray's got a lot going on. And horses are very, very sensitive, even though this is a very fine mist. He feels it landing on him, and which is the whole reason you're using fly spray in the first place, because they can feel a fly land on him, even if it's not biting them. And but just like desensitizing, you don't stop until he stops. So if he gets a little concerned about this stuff spraying on him, I'm just going to keep going along, spraying fairly close to the ground, just enough to get his front legs until he stops moving. Then I'm going to take it away and stop spraying, just like you do with any desensitizing. So we're going to do it again. We're going to start spraying it, bring it in a little closer, and see what happens. He's moving. That's okay. I'm not stopping spraying, though, because this is just like desensitizing. He stopped moving, I stopped spraying immediately. So he learns that when you're applying fly spray, the thing to do is stand still. This is what we're trying to accomplish here. Now we're going to do it again. Start off away from the horse, gradually get closer and closer. And he's already moving, and I haven't even touched him with it yet. So that's okay. I'm going to just keep spraying until he stops, like that. And then I stop immediately. Probably getting just about off camera by now. Oh, we're off to one side. I can tell that. Just going to move back in a little. And I'm going to go from the other side, because you got to do this from both sides like anything. So we start off over here and gradually get closer to the horse until we touch his front legs. Good boy. There we go. See, we didn't get a reaction that time. This is what you want to work up to. Once you get to that point where you can actually spray his front legs without a reaction, then you can work your way up to the rest of the horse. You don't start anywhere else. You start close to the ground. Just work your way up the front legs. Good man. There we go. And I'm just going to keep it distant. I'm not going to blast him with it. And I'm going to gradually go down his back, get towards the back end. There we go. Slowly. Oh, he doesn't like that on the back legs now. So we're just going to keep going with him until he stops moving. This is a very simple process. Very, like I said, it's just like doing any other kind of desensitizing. I'm not hanging on to him tight. The lead's loose in my hands. And he stopped. I stopped. Very good. We're making progress, and he's moving just enough that I can actually show you what to do here. This is excellent, actually. I was a little concerned we may have already got him a little too good at it, because, like I said, I only did this once before, and by the time we got to the end of it, he would stand still without a lead on while I applied the fly spray. And as you can see, the lead is just laying over my hand. You might not be able to see it from that distance, but I want to make sure I'm far enough back that when he moves around, we're still in camera. But lead's just laying across my hand. I'm not hanging on tight to it, because I'm not trying to restrain him, because if he moves, I'm going to go with him. I'm not trying to stop him from moving. I'm just simply going to go with him until he decides to stop moving, at which point I will immediately stop doing what I'm doing. So we're going to go again, start way over, away from him, and gradually start off. There we go, onto the front legs, slowly up over the back. Good man. 10 onto the back legs, back up, across the back, all down the side. And here's where he might react again, because he did this the last time. We're doing the belly now, getting underneath. And yes, that's as soon as we get back around the sheath area, that's where he starts moving. And we're just going to keep, he's dicey there. I almost stopped squirting. He's still moving. Obviously, that sheath is a sensitive area. He's dropped a little too, so there's more hanging out there that's probably sensitive. And then you see he stopped moving. I immediately stopped spraying. And we're just going to move around to the other side, do the exact same thing, because we want to, obviously when you go to apply the fly spray, you're going to want to be able to do it on the entire horse. So start off way over, move in. No problem. Got to the front legs. He's good with that. Go up. Stay away from the head. You shouldn't be spraying there anyhow. There we go. Good man. All the way down to the legs. Back up. So we've basically done pretty much the whole horse. The only place he might react is when we get close to that sheath area, which I probably shouldn't be getting too close to that anyhow, because that is a very, very sensitive area on a horse. So, being that he is a gelding and, on a mare, that area, you'd have to go a little further back before you get to anything sensitive. And if you ever read the label, you never ever spray a horse in the face with this stuff anyhow, so you don't have to worry about getting in on the face area, but you can work at this just slowly, very slowly, gradually, go further up the neck, and that's about as far as you're going to want to spray anyhow, is just up behind the head. Anything further up, you should apply it by hand, and actually, if you read the label, most of them will say, don't get it on your skin. Apparently it's okay for horses, but not for humans. I don't understand that, and I can't see how you can avoid getting it on you. Even after you've applied it to the horse, you're liable to rub on the horse and get it on you. I just don't see it, but one of the many reasons I don't use fly spray. But anyhow, the label usually says apply by hand. My suggestion would be a piece of paper towel or a rag of some kind. Spray it onto that, and then you rub it on their face and head area. Always making sure you avoid the nose, mouth, and eyes. Don't get it into any of them, but the rest of the head and face area you can apply it to. So that was pretty quick and simple, and that's just about how quick it was the last time I did it with him. And after that, I actually took the lead off of him. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it today because we haven't been at it quite as long, but we'll see what happens here. The lead's off now. It's in my hand over here, away from him, you can see. And we're going to just see if in this short little time, if we can get away with putting fly spray on them without having to restrain them, which you shouldn't have to, actually. Good man. Good man. There we go. Move around to the other side here. Now, this is just pretty much exactly what you'd be doing if you were actually applying fly spray to the horse. Nice fine mist like this, all over the whole body, underneath on the insides of the legs, both sides, the belly. Again, try and avoid the sheath area on a gelding, and maybe don't go too far back on a mare either. They might get sensitive. So there we go. Good little man. He gets a passing grade on that one, too. One of the few things that we actually found that we got a reaction from him on that. And so I thought it would be best, because that is something important. That's something that most of you are going to at some time do. And, there's also other things that you're going to have in spray bottles like this, too. There are wound treatments and such if he, cuts himself on the fence or something, because horses do that sort of thing. You want to be able to spray him without him dancing around. Especially if the horse is injured, the last thing you need is a horse that won't stand still for you. You really do need to treat them to some extent. How you treat them, now it's kind of up to you. But, it's still, like I said, the fly spray, it's not just the fly spray, it's, stuff squirting on them. I thought it was odd that the fly spray bothered them because I actually use the hose for dust control in the arena here. And I could actually spray them with that and it didn't bother them. But for some reason, the fly spray spraying on them bothered them. But I just thought I'd take advantage of that opportunity once we found something that actually bothered them. I could make good use of that to show you how to apply fly spray to the horse. And like I said, it's like desensitizing. Once you get past the initial sight, smell, sound, and then sensation, once you get up to that stage, it is basically the same as any other desensitizing. You continue doing it until the horse stops dancing around. That way they connect the sound of this thing, or spraying with this thing. They connect that with standing still like I'm supposed to, so that you can put it on without a problem. And because believe me, I've seen people that have had horses for many years, and years later they still have problems. It's really not that hard if you just take your time, and basically you might get a lot more reaction from your horse than I just got from this one. When you might not even be able to spray the horse. As soon as you start squirting the thing, it might start running around. Who knows? There's a lot of variations, and it may take you quite a bit longer than what you just saw in order to achieve the same thing. But if you use this basic approach to things, break it down, to the various components of the fly spray itself, and then do it like you would do any other desensitizing, and within a relatively short period of time, you're going to be able to just spray this thing anywhere you want, walk up to the horse and spray them. There you go. Problem solved.